never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion. Got my statement, and I'm reading it slow so I can understand it fully. Appreciate my standing, go out of this world and right on time.
Hey, welcome back to my channel. I hope you enjoyed today's content. And so today we're going to be talking about how I got into theater and what shows I've done and just everything that relates to that. And so first off, I'm going to say that when I was younger, I was very shy. I still am. Very shy. I wasn't outgoing at all. And theater is like the farthest thing from anything I would ever want to do or think about doing as a child. I was a kid that even in a church play would hide behind other people, so yeah, that was me. Everyone hated that person probably if you ever did a church play. And so when I was 13, I finally decided that it's like, I'm going to get out of this, so I auditioned for a musical. Crazy, right? But that took me on a crazy adventure into theater. And so the first show that I did was White Christmas. And so White Christmas was amazing, but it got me really into the rhythm of how everything would go from there, and that basically told me that I wanted to do theater for as long as I could, at least. And so theater has its ups and downs, of course, so you don't always get in what you audition for, and that's just fact. And of course, people have their top picks for certain people, and so you understand that if you're in theater. And so then after that, I got basically drafted into another musical called Anything Goes. And so White Christmas was in December, and then Anything Goes opened in April. And so it was pretty crazy because, I had only done one show, but I got drafted into another one without even auditioning, of course. And so that was a pretty exciting experience as well. And then I did one called Thoroughly Modern Millie Jr., actually, because I was still fairly young, of course, so I did a junior show. That was my first junior show, and that was a great experience. I played Mama in that, which is a character that basically comes in after the bows. Yes, after the bows. That seems a little crazy, but, it's a little kooky because it almost seemed like an added role, but it wasn't. And so it was still a very fun experience. And then I did, in October of that same year, after everything, how it lines up, I did 13, the musical, which is basically about, life of 13-year-olds and the struggles that 13-year-olds go through. I had just turned 14 at the time, so I guess I had kind of been through that. And so then I did, in February of the next year, I ended up doing my first play. I did The Miracle Worker, and that one was pretty exciting, I guess. It's about the life of Helen Keller, and how when she was younger, of course, when she first met her caregiver that taught her how to speak and how to get along with people. And so I played a blind girl in I think it was like a school, and then I also played a crone, which is like an ugly old lady, so it was pretty fun. I got to have all the, the gray spray in your hair and tease it up like I was really old and raggedy and everything else. And so then, in April of that next year, I did The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, and that was my first kind of real role of sorts. I played Susie Rogers, so that was kind of fun. I only had a couple lines, but it was really fun. I had a mother and a brother in that, and I just got to interact with different characters throughout the entire musical. So it was really fun because you can sing and dance and a thing like that. And also that one was one that my dad decided to join in to a show with me. So it was really fun to do that with family and all. And then I did in May of 2017, which is when I did The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. I done it in April, and so this was in May. I did a show called Fiddler on the Roof, and so it might be kind of it's fairly popular, but lesser known to some environments, about some people that were Jewish and just muddling through life, basically. And so that was a really fun show to do as well. And then in July of that same year, I did Guys and Dolls Junior. So it was in my second junior show. So yes, that was a pretty exciting show. I was also ensemble in that one, as well as the other ones that I haven't really mentioned, Roland. And then after that, I did All Shook Up, which is basically done with all Elvis music, and so it's really exciting. It was very exciting. It was a fun show to do, but there were definitely struggles in that one. There are struggles in all shows, but that one especially, as well as it was very fun as well. And so then in October of that year, I did The Lion King Jr. And so that one, of course, everyone knows The Lion King, and so it's basically the classic story, just a little shorter for younger kids and such. And so it was really fun in that one. I played all sorts of characters, including an antelope and I played a what did I play? I played a lioness and water and grass. It was all those fun things. And so then in November of that same year as well, I did Dorothy in Wonderland, which is one you probably have never heard of unless you've done it or happen to see it somewhere. It's kind of a twist on the old, The Wizard of Oz and Alice in Wonderland, and it kind of just puts them together in this magical world of mystery. And so then after that, of course, I did Oliver. And Oliver is a very exciting but kind of dreary show in times because it's about an orphan boy, and so who basically runs away from an orphanage and goes through life, and he meets all sorts of fun, exciting characters like the Artful Dodger and all sorts of other fun things. And then so that was in December, but then in the next year, April of the next year, I did my first show of that next year, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. And so that is based on the classic movie, of course. And so it was a very exciting show as well. I played Violet in that, so that was really fun to do that. And so then in April as well, so I did 2 shows in April, I did Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, so it's kind of a mouthful. And so it was a very fun show as well because, you just jump around, you have a lot of fun in that, but it's strictly just all music, and so you kind of have to develop yourself in that, just like as a character, to be able to just sing and not just have to act as well, but you will act. And then in that same year, in August, so it was kind of a fairly long break, I guess, I did Anything Goes the second time. So I had done it once in my first year of doing theater, but I did it in August of 2018, and so I did Anything Goes again. And so it was a very fun experience, and I played the purser, and so funny story about that was that I originally got cast in ensemble, but then I luckily got drafted into the character of the purser, so that was very exciting because that happens in theater sometimes. So, you know, just because you get ensemble, it doesn't mean that you will stay ensemble, but most likely you might. But it just depends on how things go. If someone gets sick and you don't have an understudy, then someone might even need to jump in for that. And so you always have to be ready as an actor or actress. And then in November of that year, I did A Midsummer Night's Midterm. And so it's, of course, the basic story of A Midsummer Night's Dream with a little twist of some teenagers going through their midterms. And then in the next year of 2019, so this was last year, I did Hello Dolly in May. And so Hello Dolly was a very fun show to do as well because, you know, it's very fun to do that. Of course, I played an ensemble of that one as well. A Midsummer Night's Midterm, which I'm going to go back to that one for a brief moment. I played Quince, and so that was a very just challenging role. It was one of my bigger roles. And so then going back to Hello Dolly, yes, I played in the ensemble of that, and so it was a very fun show to do. And there's, of course, Dolly, which is great. And I kind of played a character. I did play an added character in that, but that had a little song, and so it was kind of fun. But yeah, and then in October of 2019, then I ended up doing my first, I would say, like, real professional show that I actually luckily got paid for a little money for that, but that was really fun either way. And so it was The Wizard of Oz, and so The Wizard of Oz is, of course, a classic, but it was just really fun to be a part of. I played a Winky and an Ozian, so it was really fun to just act at that and get to show off my both cheerful side of the Ozians and the drabby and cold side of the Winkies. And so then in November of last year, I did A Child Story, and so this was my last show. A Child Story was kind of a mix of all sorts of classic books and plays, and so it was, you know, had a good assortment of shows all in there. And so then, as far as performance-wise and such, after that, in December, I did two things. I did Messiah, which is Handel's Messiah. And so, of course, I was just in the choir of that, but that was very exciting because I'm now a part of a honor choir of sorts, and so it's for teenagers going up to about 19. And so we did Messiah along with about 5 or 6 other choirs. And then I did a madrigal feast, which is basically a form of music. You've got lots of music and people eating, and you dress up in medieval costumes and all, and it was very exciting to do that because, you know, I had done shows on stage, but it was a new experience to be right up next to the audience like that. You're like just standing right next to them. And so, yeah, so that's all I have for the shows I did. I've done in my lifetime, and I don't know how many shows I'll do in the future, of course. I will let y'all know, of course, if I'm in another show. But yeah, it's just a really fun experience to do theater. And so if you have any questions or comments, please leave those down below. And if you have any statements about anything, I'll try and do like some singing videos, maybe eventually, you know, once my voice kind of returns to itself, because I am a little hoarse today. But I think, yeah, that it should be a fun experience here, and I hope that you enjoyed the video and didn't find it too unentertaining because I was just listing off shows I've done. But yeah, it's just a fun experience to do theater. And so, hope to see you again soon. Bye.